FC Cologne celebrates 12 million profit. Schalke 04 separates ways with chief coach Thomas Rees. With immediate effect, Ukrainian soldiers trained abroad expressed discontent. I repeatedly told them NATO manuals didn't apply. Ukraine would be doing worse against Russia if it fought like Americans do, U.S. veteran in Ukraine says. Russia claims that Western intelligence aided Ukraine in striking Crimea Navy headquarters.
Pakistan to evict 1.1 meters illegal Afghan refugees, immigrants, temporary residents to thank for Canada's record population growth in 2023, StatCan reports. Blackstone bets on Canadian immigration to usher in growth. In Canada, the Supreme Court just reined in the scope of a Canadian security law. Refugee advocates are praising the ruling. Recently, Supreme Court upheld agreement that lets Canada send refugees back to U.S.
Alice in Borderland renewed for Season 3 at Netflix. Naomi Watts and Chloe Sevigny star in Gus Van Sant's feud, Capote vs. the Swans for FX. Martin Scorsese says the psychological and emotional state of Taxi drivers Travis Bickle has become a tragic norm. Malayalam film 2018 selected as India's official entry for Oscars 2024.
Defense Secretary Austin's salary cut to $1 under GOP budget plan. In France, by Social Security, the government announces €3.5 billion in savings on the 2024 budget. Reportedly, Germans save more and choke consumption. Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition is coming to PS5 and PC. Gran Turismo 7 Update 1.38 adds exciting new cars, extra menus, and a newscapes location on September 28. Assassin's Creed Mirage's trophy list revealed. Leading Dutch dairy company Bormark announces it will become 100% plant-based. Spain's wine industry faces smallest harvest ever recorded. South Africa hit by lethal avian flu outbreak. One of the most intense El Niños ever observed could be forming. Record-breaking temperatures across South America prompt concerns of scorching summer and wildfires. September temperature records broken across Western Australia amid unusual wave of scorching spring weather. While Macron talking about the environment, France prevents the EU from lowering cars' pollution standards, and the EU wants to keep the rules of the Euro 6 over Euro 7. Footage emerges of Ilyushin 76 plane crash in Mali, Wagner mercs killed. Burkina Faso's military rulers say, coup attempt foiled, plotters arrested. U.S. soldier Travis King, who fled to North Korea back in American custody after North Korea deported.
North Korea enshrines nuclear power status in constitution. Bulgarian parliament approves S-300 sending anti-aircraft missiles to be repaired and used in Ukraine. Canada's Trudeau apologizes after Nazi veteran praised in parliament. Russia claims that Western intelligence aided Ukraine in striking Crimea Navy headquarters.
China says drills near Taiwan target arrogance of separatists. Russia wanted to conquer Ukraine in just 2 days. It now says the war will last at least 3 years. Czech government approves plan to buy 24 F-35 jets.
Justin Sun offers 5% reward for hackers that stole $8 million from crypto exchange HTX. Binance sells its Russian enterprise to new Tradecom X amid compliance considerations. FTX founder's parents sued for crypto exchange theft.
Coinbase's CEO Brian Armstrong leads crypto DC push for new rules, warning jobs will go overseas. SEC delays decision on spot Bitcoin ETFs as Congress members urge approval. Kraken announces stock trading services for U.S. and U.K. markets. In U.S.-listed stocks, Fidelity executive says Ethereum investment thesis could be easier for institutions to grasp than Bitcoin.
Culinary and bartenders unions in Las Vegas vote to authorize a strike. In India, 42.3% of graduates under 25 unemployed, finds latest State of Working India report.
United Nations group denounces France's hijab ban for athletes. Ground search finds 15 potential grave sites at former Yukon residential school site. The FBI is probing whether Egyptian intelligence played a role in Bob Menendez's alleged bribery scheme. Hack of Egyptian politician's iPhone tied to tech firm Sandvine. Egyptian rights group says 73 supporters of a presidential challenger have been arrested.
Qatar Airways executive says invasive gynecological examinations of passengers won't be repeated. Last year, 5 women passengers sued Qatar Airways over forced vaginal exams at Doha Airport.
Chinese hackers stole 60K emails from U.S. state debt in Microsoft breach. Senate staffer says pro-India hackers claim responsibility for disruption of Canadian Forces website. Ghost guns. 3D printer found during bust at East Harlem Daycare Center. California governor signs law raising taxes on guns and ammunition to pay for school safety.
No Trump courses on preliminary 2024 54 golf schedule. Kyle Busch sells Truck Series team and manufacturing assets to Spire Motorsports as 2-time Cup champion ends ownership role. Philips kept complaints about dangerous CPAP breathing machines secret while company profits soared. U.S. Justice Department targets eBay for alleged unlawful sales of pesticides and other toxins.
ChatGPT users can now browse internet, OpenAI says, as it is no longer restricted to September 2021 knowledge cutoff after internet browser revamp. The Firefox browser now has a built-in page translator that works even without the internet. Turns out robot umpires have one big flaw: they're too perfect.
GPUs from all major suppliers NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, and others vulnerable to pixel-stealing GPU zip attack. Backdoored firmware lets China state hackers control routers with magic packets. Disney Plus password sharing crackdown to begin on November 1st. Prasar Bharati, digital news service of India's public broadcaster, sends YouTube news channels copyright strikes for clips of Parliament, PM speeches.
Saturated fat may interfere with creating memories in aged brain. Poor oral health could lessen survival from head and neck cancer. A proposed desalination system could produce fresh water that is cheaper than tap water through thermohaline convection. A cost-competitive electricity production to lithium-ion batteries is proposed through geothermal well pumping system, harvesting the heat from the downhole fluid.
Depression and anxiety more common prior to multiple sclerosis symptom onset. Racial discrimination among teens linked to unhealthy stress hormone levels. Job loss is linked to increased risk of miscarriage and stillbirth.
The Last of Us Part 3 motion capture may already be underway. Batman Arkham Knight Steam update hints at RDX remaster. EA pulls its FIFA games from digital storefronts, such as Steam. Google Pixel was the only smartphone brand that didn't shrink in North America in Q2 2023. Sony confirms the Xperia 5V is not coming to the US to indefinitely extend waiver for Korean chipmakers to bring equipment into China. U.S. pressures will lead to golden decade for China's semiconductor industry, experts claim. UBS, Credit Suisse face wider U.S. probe over Russia sanctions.
Japan's Mitsubishi Motors turned production in China. Hyundai and Kia recall nearly 3.4 million vehicles due to fire risk and urge owners to park outdoors. Bruce Springsteen cancels rest of shows this year due to illness. Matty Healy announces the 1975 going on indefinite hiatus from live shows after tour ends.
Johnny Depp starts shooting Moda in Hungary, with Italy's Luisa Ranieri joining Al Pacino and Riccardo Scamarcio in cast. Reptile producers Black Label Media talk their third Benicio del Toro film and say Sicario 3 is very close. Amicus Productions returns from the grave with portmanteau horror film In the Grip of Terror. Robbie Brenner promoted to president of Mattel Films on heels of Barbie success. Blizzard veteran Chris Metzen is Warcraft's new executive creative director. Statue maker Gaming Heads claims Sony told it to destroy all PlayStation-themed stock. Sony Interactive Entertainment, the group of PlayStation head Jim Ryan to retire next spring, and COO and CFO Hiroki Totoki to assume interim CEO role, while keeping his current role at Sony Group.
Sergio Ramos and Pilar Rubio's house in Seville, burglarized with their 4 children inside. Cher accused of hiring 4 men to kidnap her adult son.
Greenwich Council orders developer to knock down Riverside Towers in Woolwich, the masked Quay Woolwich, London apartment block that deviates from plans in unprecedented action. Cost of building a supersize Alabama prison rises to more than $1 billion.
UK's Labour drops plan to strip public schools of charitable status. Bipartisan senators urge U.S. universities to work with Taiwan in replacing Confucius institutes. Sula Braverman admits it's inevitable that fentanyl will soon flood Britain's drugs market, as Home Secretary uses U.S. trip to see firsthand evidence of the country's opioid crisis. United States Senate committee passes marijuana banking bill.
Reportedly, 1,000 Malaysians forced to work for scams in Myanmar by human trafficking syndicates. Criminal gangs in UK, sending recruits to train as prison officers, union warns. Malaysia remains neutral despite ties with China, US, says Johari Abdul, Speaker of Dewan Rakyat, lower house of the Malaysian parliament. Japan can keep importing Russian oil, above price cap through June 2024, US says Space Force considers new component in Japan. As Saltzman bolsters ties with Visit, SpaceX wins first Pentagon contract for Starshield, its satellite network for military use. James Webb Space Telescope reveals ancient galaxies were more structured than scientists thought. Antimatter falls down, not up. CERN experiment confirms Einstein's theory of gravity. Egyptian New Jersey businessman, 40, Wael Hanna, co-defendant in Robert Menendez case, arrested at JFK accused of bribing by feds at JFK and freed on $5 million bond. Bob Menendez out on $100,000 bond. U.S. Senator Robert Menendez, his wife, and 3 New Jersey businessmen charged with bribery offenses. Robert Menendez allegedly agreed to use his official position to benefit Wael Hannah, Jose Uribe, Fred Dabes, and the government of Egypt in exchange for hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes to Menendez and his wife Nadine Menendez, which included gold bars, cash, and a luxury convertible.